Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Glad that you could be here. Hey, Jan.
Hey,
Alongside
Steve.
Jan is
Hey,
with me.
everybody.
Yeah. So, what we're going to talk about is how to make 25 your year to save money. And both Jan and I have a few, tips that we want to share. So, Jan, I'll go ahead and let you start with
Oh,
yours.
thank you, Steve. Thanks, everybody, for being here and Happy New Year. Many times people say vague terms. This year, I want to save more. Well, that's a good start that you desire to do that. But I am convinced of the following that in order to really, really save and to make it real as we can, we should create name it and claim it funds. What do I mean by that? I mean, get item specific. For example, it's one thing to say, I want to save this year, as opposed to saying this, I want to save $5,000 for my next family vacation and hit my goal by June of 2025. How specific is that? This way, we can focus on being laser sharp. I really want that desired goal. Why? Because I want to take my family on a great vacation. When to have the money ready? By June of this year. That answers a lot of questions. Where the other thing is like, it's a vague thought, it's a sweet thought. Yeah, I want to save. You see where I'm going with this. So, by making item specific goals, you're making your goal that much more realistic.
Yeah, that is very true. You have to you do have to set a goal. You have to stop and tell yourself, okay, this is what I have in my mind that I want to do for this year. I want to accomplish this by this date. And if you put your mind to it, the biggest thing is not following through. That's what causes everything. That's one of the reasons why you hear people say my New Year's resolution. I don't make New Year's resolutions anymore because 90% of the time they all wind up failing. Don't That's why I don't do them. You're better off just don't use New Year's resolution. Just figure out, what you want to do to improve where you're at and go with it. And a lot of the time I know a lot of the time it works out better. Don't ask me why when you leave New Year's resolution out of the equation, it seems to go better. But that's been my that I'm just saying that on my behalf. But I also have a tip here as well. It has to do with utilities. There are a couple of areas that you could probably save some money. Call your electric company. I know Jan has this feature. I have it down here where I'm at. Instead of having a full monthly electric bill, which can be quite a bit depending, you have something here and her as well where you pay as you go, where your light bill basically stays about the same amount each month based on how much you use. And that could put 80, 90, $100 back in your hand. Again, that could fluctuate, could be a little more, could be a little less. That could be something, one way that you could put money back in your pocket. A second one, it's a biggie. And I'm not even sure why people would still want to have this today. I know some people do. What good is it to have a cable bill anymore? You've got other avenues that you can turn to. You've got smart TVs, you've got Fire Sticks, you've got Roku, you've got other avenues that you can go and get decent quality stuff to watch. Well, I mean, in order to have Amazon Prime Video, that's one of the apps. Okay, so you have Amazon Prime. Yeah, but having Amazon Prime is a lot less per month than having a cable bill. And
Absolutely.
and you can have other apps on there that you could put on your Fire Stick, your Roku. Um, okay. have a decent internet package, eliminate your cable. You know that's going to put some money back in your hand. But what I do recommend in some cases is look into something called a VPN, virtual private network, which it's not that much per month to have. It's way less than cable. Your cable and your internet together is much cheaper than what you're going to pay for cable. And what that will allow you to do, well, that will allow you to watch certain channels. You know, it's it's without being disturbed. It gives you a little bit more privacy. And I myself, you know, would do that. But there are other ways, and I plan on doing that. But consider Fire Stick, Roku. You have a bunch of different apps. Um, you know, you've also got other places you can go to get TV channels where you also pay less per month than what you would do at cable. So that's another um, place to try and save money.
That's wonderful, Steve. So what you're saying is that we have options these days. We need to cut the cable cord for once and for all. There's so many options.
I mean, yes. I mean, if you want cable per se, all right, but you have all these other apps. If you have to have cable, maybe cut it down to the most least expensive package, and I'll tell you why. If you have an Amazon Fire Stick or Roku, you've got apps for certain TV channels. And in order to be able to access it, you've got to have your cable info sign in information in order to get into it. And it'll give you access to on demand and a few other things. So maybe, depending, you'd have to feel it out. If you have to have cable, cut it down to your most basic. That's still putting money back in your hand. You know, yeah.
So customization is key.
Yeah.
That's really, really good, Steve. I like that. Great tips over there. Very
Hmm.
good. What I was thinking also is this: make 2025 the year, seriously, the year to pay down your debt. Just imagine, let's say you're paying $500 a month to reduce your debt. And that's a good thing that you are, reducing your debt. But just imagine when the day comes when that debt is paid off, that $500 doesn't have to go to a debt collector. Instead, it's going to go into other things like saving money, emergency funding, sometimes wants, the things that you may want, not just the things that you need.
Hmm.
What a difference.
Hmm.
Getting rid of debt takes the weight of the world, rather, off your shoulders. Make this year the year that you seriously take actionable steps to reduce your debt. That is a huge, huge thing. And it opens the door to other possibilities.
Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Um, it's almost, I know where you're coming from with that. It's more or less like it's like a set it and forget it type thing in your case. You know, what I would do if it was me, I would say, okay, here's my budget. This is what I have to work with. I'm gonna take $20 and just put it away, whether it be twice a month, once a week. You go by, what your funds will allow you. I promise you that 20, you keep building it up. Just let it add to it 20, just keep adding. At some point you're going to have some money,
Absolutely.
you know. So I am a firm believer in a sinking fund, and a lot of people also don't realize creating a sinking fund whenever an expense or something comes up that you have to pay comes up, you'll already have it. I'll tell you a
Right.
prime one. If you have the ability to pay your property taxes, take what your property taxes are, divide it by however how many months it is before you pay it each year. Most people pay it around November. Okay, that's 11 months. Set that amount away each month. By the time, well, remember too, taxes do fluctuate. So you have to work around that. Set the money aside. Then when the time comes, oh, my taxes are due. Click, click, peace of mind. So yeah, that's another
Great
way.
tip, Steve. Great tip because I'm glad you brought up sinking funds because these expenses are going to roll around. It's just a question of when. Why
When,
not be prepared?
that's right. Absolutely. Um, I have a good tip. This has to do with groceries. Whether you're single, have a family, it really doesn't matter. It can happen either way. When you go to the store and you buy something, does it necessarily have to be something you've never tried before? No. If you buy something, let's say you buy a 16-ounce container of something, that something can be anything. But you buy it, you use it, and you find out that you only use about half of it. The other half goes to waste. You got to throw it away. It's no good. So you threw away that part of your money on that 16-ounce item. So what do you do in that situation? Consider buying a smaller size. Now you have a 16-ounce container. You used half, 8 ounces. Easy solution. Go to the store. You might pay a little more for it. Buy an 8-ounce container. Yeah, you might pay a little bit more for the 8 ounce over the 16. A lot of the time that can happen. But think about how much you wasted buying that 16 ounce and you didn't use it all.
That's true.
So, how much are you saving? Paying a little more, getting the smaller? I don't know. You do go by the ounces though. If you look where you go to buy something, it's on everything in the store. It's either going to give you by the ounce or what it cost each if you have multiple. So always buying the bigger quantity is not always the answer. Buy according to what you would use.
Such a good point, Steve, because let's say there's a person with a household, a family of one or two. Example, are they going to buy a 10-pound sack of potatoes? Not usually,
Mm-mm.
unless they eat a whole lot of potatoes. In that case, it might be better for them and would be better probably for them to buy a 5-pound sack or 2 pounds or individual amounts. It depends on the person, a person's lifestyle. If they
Hmm.
travel a lot, to buy a whole bunch of potatoes and it just sits at home growing those little protrusions or those eyes and whatever, no good. You are so right. It's to be customized to your situation.
In the case of a potato, I do like my potatoes. I do. Um, but also consider this. Right. Go. Would I myself buy a 5-pound bag of potatoes? Yeah, it's a better deal. Probably not. And I know the frequent, like whenever I do potatoes, I know the frequency of how I eat a potato. Now, you can also buy them individually too. And you
Yes.
go into a grocery store, you've got sections, whether it's russet, red, whatever type you want. You could also buy potatoes individual per pound. Um, I myself like to buy it. I usually don't buy more than about 3 potatoes. I like potatoes, but you are right. You don't want them to grow the eyes and those pieces start running out of it. And no, you don't want to do that.
No.
So you're bet again, same scenario. Buy only what you're going to use.
Yes.
you know. So, but that's my tips. I've got, just the three, that,
Well, that's good. Those are good tips.
yeah, they are. And hopefully that's enough information to help somebody out there that,
Well, I want to add one more.
okay.
Uh, yeah, find realistic ways to save money on everyday expenses, including groceries. Track your expenses. Do you buy outside coffee every day and you think nothing of it? But then at the end of the month, you go, why can't I save that extra $100 a month? Track your expenses. What did you do last month? What can we improve upon? Is there something? I'm not saying never have outside coffee, but if it becomes a habit and you're spending $5 a day, Monday through Friday, $25 a week times the month, you're spending like $100 on outside coffee. Maybe you'll reconsider that habit. Monitor our daily habits, tracking expenses, and this really helps reduce the chance of a leaky wallet or burning a hole in our wallet, which many of us do unwittingly. We don't plan on it, it just happens that way. Being more mindful. I think the whole key, Steve, is to be more mindful of our daily expenses.
Yeah, it's funny that you mention outside coffee. I don't know what it costs now. I haven't done it in a long time. I don't do it anymore. Every once in a great, great, great blue moon, and I mean great blue moon, I'll have coffee out. But at one time back during COVID, I was going to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning and I was getting a large coffee about 3 to 4 days a week. At the time, I don't know what it is now. At the time, it was $2.87 a cup. That same cup of coffee now might be well over $4. I don't see why it wouldn't because prices have gone up so much. And that's another story within itself. But that same cup of coffee now is probably well over $4 or right near it. So I was spending, yeah, about $8 a week, closer to 9 per week, about 35, $36 a month. I said, no. I said, Steve, are you sure about this? I said, you can go to the store and buy your own coffee, make it yourself for way, way, way less than what you would pay going to a Dunkin' Donuts. Don't get me wrong, I still like Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I haven't had it in a while. Do I miss it? No, not really, but I do like it. But you don't have to go and buy coffee out. And if you go to a place like Starbucks, no disrespect, I don't know why you'd want to go to Starbucks. I never acquired a taste for their coffee. I really haven't. It, and
Not my favorite, put it that way.
No, every time I've gone to Starbucks and gotten a coffee, it's always had a burnt taste to it. I don't
Yes.
I don't if I want burnt coffee, I'll do that myself.
Do it for free at home.
And I don't have to pay and Starbucks is more than Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
I won't do that.
No.
Well,
I-
another reason why I don't like Starbucks is they don't support military and I come from a military family.
no.
So I don't like that. And
I don't
therefore,
blame you.
well, even if the coffee was good and didn't have the burnt taste, I still wouldn't support them
Right.
because if you don't, that's not you got you fight for our country and you don't support them. Okay, that's not fair. I don't play that. So that's my expertise basing or bouncing back on what you just said. Be careful when you buy coffee out because it can get expensive, especially if you do it too many times per week. Now, if you go once a week, maybe once a month, twice a month, not so bad, maybe. But if you do it 3, 4 days a week, no, I avoid.
I mean, if you could do it, it doesn't affect your expenses. Your rent is paid, your bills are paid, you got more left over, you're saving, you're investing, whatever. Fine.
No,
Do
that's
it to
why.
your heart's content. But for the person that says, I can't figure out why I can't save. Or worse than that, I'm in credit card debt. People that are in credit card debt and spending money on outside coffee like it's going out of style, I cannot I cannot understand that for the life of me.
Hmm.
It just makes zero sense. Zero.
Well, this is January, and I promise you, I would say over half of the US population is in credit card debt.
That's a
Why?
fact.
Why? What happens in December? Christmas. People shop. And like you said before, January bill always comes around.
Thank you. January still comes. Yes, and here
No
he
matter how
is.
you slice and dice, chop, smother, cover, it's still going to come around. That's right. Consider, hey, I've got this debt. Let me think about this for a minute. Coffee, get out of debt. It may not sound like a whole lot there. I think I would rather be out of debt rather than because coffee, like I said, I can make that on my own. I'm not even worried about that. You got a coffee maker or a Keurig or whatever it is, percolator. Make your own coffee.
Right. And you know what, Steve? Sometimes people, many times, people are charging that expensive outside coffee to their credit card.
They are.
And at the moment, they're not feeling the pinch. But if you ask them to take real green cash out of their wallet every day, and that might be a really good trick to do, swap it out for paying with cash. Gee, this is painful spending
Hmm.
$5 or more
Yeah.
for outside coffee every
Hmm.
day.
That's
But if you
right.
just issue a plastic card, you're not feeling the pinch. Then, like we always say, January still comes, and all of a sudden, sticker shock. How could that happen? Hmm.
Well, people also don't realize you're looking at a piece of plastic
Yeah,
instead of green, instead of money. There is a difference.
exactly. It's abstract.
Because when you have cash money in your wallet, you look or whatever. Oh, I have this much to work with. But when you pull out a card, you can't see that. There's a
And a
difference.
good experiment would be to do the following: take out $30, for example, that a person might be throwing away on coffee in cash. Do not carry the plastic. See how long you go throughout the week with that $30 in cash. Just watch it. Then they'll realize.
Well, people need one thing people need to incorporate in to their budget. You've talked about it. I've talked about it. Create no spend days. Do you have to go out? Oh, I got $20. I got to spend this. No, you don't. No, you don't. Not if you don't have to. Not unless it's something dire need important that you have to put, you know. No, you don't. If you don't have to spend it, set it aside. Set it aside. Set it and
So,
forget it.
yeah,
Add to it. It doesn't sound like a lot, but 20 if you put $40 a month away at the end of a year, it doesn't sound like a lot. That's $480 free and clear.
that's right.
Yeah, and over the course of 5 years, that's $2,400.
Absolutely. And there are people that are struggling to pay for the basic groceries month in and month
Hmm.
out. For a person to come out ahead $20, $40 at the end of the month can make a big difference between eating and not eating from, let's say, 3 days before payday comes. So it's always better to be ahead. No amount of savings. If there's anything I want to say today, Steve, you'll probably agree. No amount of savings is too small. Don't compare yourself to someone else that saves thousands quickly. Everyone's life is different, everyone's situation is different. But if you come out ahead, even if it's $50 a month ahead, you did pretty darn well.
I don't want to sound like I'm coming off harsh or detrimental here when I say this. Anybody that says, oh, I can't save, You're a liar, and I'll tell you why. You're a liar because if you have $1 per day that you don't use, $7 a week, $28 a month,
That's right.
depending that could fluctuate depending on how many weeks. Could be a little higher. You just save money if you just take $1, 7 a week, and just don't touch it. That's a lie. People need to stop making excuses for themselves and say, I can't, I won't, I'm not able. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
Choices.
Where there's a will, there's a way, there is a solution. Anybody can do it. I don't even want to hear that. I can do it. I've done it. And I'm on a fixed income. I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now. Straight out. I'm on a fixed income, but I have the ability to save money. It's not hard to do. $1 a day. Don't just a
Well, like
dollar.
you just said, Steve, if there's a will, there's a way. I'm sorry you were about to say something.
No, anybody, I'm just saying, anybody, what I was about to say is basically repeating myself. Anybody who says that they can't save money, yes, you can. You have to put your mind to it. It's all right here.
Right.
Because if you let this get the best of you, it can either make you or break you. Think about that.
100%, no doubt.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it for me. I think you know, well, Jan, this this was a good, a good thing we talked about.
Thanks for
It,
having me here again.
yeah, no, anytime as always. But again, this is something that you and I wanted to make relevant. It's a new year.
Yeah.
Time to go over to the chalkboard, as I say, wipe the slate clean, new beginnings, a new start.
Love it. This is a wonderful time of the year. It's the beginning. The slate is clean. Everything Steve said, I back him up 100%. You were so
Hmm.
correct.
All right. Well, I hope everybody has whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you have a good whatever it is, day, night, evening, and always be on the lookout for us, myself. Make sure you're subscribed. Check, make sure the notification bell is
And
active.
click like to Steve's channel. Very important.
Click like, subscribe. That would be because I'm trying to hit my 1,000. Seems like a lifetime to get there, but that's what I'm trying to do. And again, be on the lookout for us. And both Jan and I, we'll see you back here next time. Hope everybody has a good one. Bye.
Bye bye.